Welcome, investigator. Evil is on the rise. Crime is escalating. Our mission is to eliminate the crime by exposing evil, examine why it manifests, and highlight the brave souls that confront it every day. Join us as we work together to bring justice to every victim. Welcome to All Things Crime. Here's your host, Jared Bradley.
Well, it's critical for people to understand that their choices have repercussions. And the fact that in some jurisdictions around the country nowadays, their bad acts don't have repercussions, which is why you see such a dramatic spike in all sorts of different crime in different areas. You see Nordstrom's, moving out of San Francisco because they've been robbed so much. I was reading an article and said, I believe it was Nordstrom, their total profits are down 25%. And they operate on pretty small margins anyway. So you've got these businesses that are getting just wholesale robbed. And the biggest problem is they're not being prosecuted. I mean, especially with facial recognitions and all this kind of thing, is they know who these people, they know who a lot of these people are, and they could crack down on this stuff, but they won't. And therefore, it's human nature. If you're not being punished for something that you do something wrong, and especially if it's profitable to the individual, and the individual has no repercussions at all, that's why you see people walking into a Walgreens or something with a garbage bag and just start shoving it in. Well, that's a pretty low-level case, but that will escalate. So anybody that is not being punished for something that they do individually on a small scale, that's going to just, it's basically rewarding them. And so they're going to do more. People will do more of whatever you reward. Well, these people that create even the more heinous crimes, where you have the assaults, the sexual assaults and the homicides, they have to be held to account. And like you said, Tom, every time the bad guys hear about somebody, a case getting solved, and even if it's a year old or 50 years old, eventually they're going to get caught. And hopefully it's within a time frame that they can also be pay the price for this. But society in order for society to actually function properly, it has to have repercussions for individual acts that go against the societal norm. And I think you're right, Tommy. It's just one of those where, you know what, this guy got caught, and hopefully there's people taking note that the next time they get some kind of an urge to grab some girl off the street, maybe this case will come to their minds.
Yeah, 50-year later case. So there's people reading this, they're wondering when the axe is going to fall, and it's just not the lightning strike of being able to find them with the DNA that's now down to 3 to 5 skin cells, maybe as much as 10 are needed. That's nothing to get this with that quote touch DNA. But the other thing does is it emboldens people who are potential witnesses. And when you work these historic, or this overused term of cold case homicides, if you work these things or you take a look backwards on these, and there's a big movement to do that, and the agencies, and there's a big outcry to do that from victims, it encourages those people who are would-be witnesses to come to the other side now. And all you got to do is approach them, and they know that that's out here, and they do not want to be involved in a conspiracy all these years later where they covered that up, albeit a 2 years or 50 year. They've had to live with this, and they were romantically involved with somebody or a family member, and they covered this up. And, they had a change of personality. And that's when things change. So this is a tremendous tool, not only just because of that lightning bolt effect, but it encourages people to come forward on this stuff because we're going to find it with forensics.
Yeah. And it's interesting also that people, if they know there's not going to be a prosecution and this person's just going to be right back out on the street, the chance that they'll cooperate with the police just plummets. And so, but on the other side, if people know that, hey, if I help the police, and this person is prosecuted and gets put away, then they're more likely to cooperate and to help. And so the prosecution, which is ultimately being held accountable for your decisions, and when perpetrators and just outright criminals are caught and prosecuted and taken out of society and off the streets, it benefits everybody. So, all right, let's go back to the video, man. This is such an incredible video. It's out of Broward County Sheriff's Office, and you can go to their YouTube channel and see this. And the link is going to be in the comments. So here we go.
Robert Keebler died in South Florida a few years ago. Before the results of the DNA testing, there was never any evidence of him as a suspect in this case. The question now for Detective Gino and why he needs the public's help is finding the connection between Robert Keebler and Barbara and Darlene.
We're trying to figure out how and if their two universes would have crossed paths back in 1975. It's difficult to reconstruct the past that's 48 years old. If anybody remembers Darlene and Barbara, anything about them, anything about what occurred in June of 1975, associations, friendships, I asked them to give us a call. It may mean nothing to them, but it may mean everything to us.
All right, so it's absolutely critical. Anytime that that people have information, and like you said, Tom, the opportunity to, relationships change, circumstances change, people remember things that maybe they were afraid to come forward in the past, but if they have any information now to help solve and make this connection, then that's it's absolutely critical to do that. So, okay, last part of the video that I want to hit is right here.
And it's likely Detective Gino believes that another male was involved in the crimes as well. Investigation on that part of the case is ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to call Broward Crime Stoppers at 954-493-TIPS. Tipsters may be eligible for a cash reward. With other dead women found in this same general area in Broward and Miami-Dade counties around the same time as Barbara and Darlene, Detective Gino says the DNA hit on Robert Clark Keebler is a significant development.
We're looking back at all of the other murders that took place out here to see if there is DNA evidence to tie him into those cases.
Yeah, just to wrap this thing up, boy, it's just so amazing that when a case that's almost 50 years old is solved, and it's a double homicide, and they think there's connections with other people, with other there's other suspects they're looking for, and we're going to put in a graphic here that shows some of the other murders that happened in that general area back in the 70s. And so, if anybody has any information, especially about all of those other homicides that are unsolved, and maybe there is a connection. Maybe there is enough of, as Tom was saying, there's so much violence that happened back there in that Hollywood area back in the 70s that there were a lot of gangs, a lot of, and not the gangs that you would think of now, but it's more of the motorcycle type gangs, that feel at least. And just incredible that we have a breakthrough that might actually lead to more of these homicides being solved. So, all right, guys, hey, it's been fantastic. I think we lost Tom, but he's working remotely, and so may not have really good internet connection, but just an amazing case. Again, I want to congratulate all the Broward County detectives and even those folks that worked this case back in 1975. If you guys are listening to this and any of you or know any of those investigators, they did it right. And it was just incredible that they were professional enough that they did that, and they got it all in. So amazing stuff. And we love it. We love that the MVAC was so involved in finding this DNA profile off of the victim's clothing. And again, congratulations to all those guys. So kudos, and hopefully this helps the victim and the victim's families and friends to start, the healing process, because at least these two girls have now a little bit of closure and a little bit of justice. So, all right, guys, appreciate you listening. Again, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode, and we will talk at you later. Thanks for joining us. Your attention today brings us one step closer to exposing and eliminating the evil that brings crime to our communities. Hit subscribe and share this episode. Together, we will bring justice to every victim.